According to the Nigeria Communications Commission, 2G continues to be the dominant technology in Nigeria's mobile market with 60.32% of the country's 220.36 million mobile subscriptions on the 2G network as of August 2023 compared to 58.36% in May 2023. Another report shows Nigeria is the third least affordable country in the world to purchase an iPhone 15. Nigerian citizen needs to spend 65% of their yearly salary to purchase the base model iPhone 128 gig, and same goes for other gadgets like laptops, tablets, and etc. Joining me now for this conversation is Bankole Bada, CEO Huntela. Great to have you on the show. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
Yeah. So looking at that report by the NCC, that's a huge population that's still on 2G, enabled phones. So break it down for me. What can a 2G phone do?
Well, I will say that due to the economic situation of the country, there's decline in purchasing power and our minimum wage issues we've been having, customers have been forced to reduce their spend on discretionary income. And in this kind of economic situation that we have, first things to go are things that are not important. We have the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that says food, clothing, and shelter. Up above that hierarchy, we have needs like self-actualization. For people, when there is this economic downturn, they need to reduce their spend.
So you rather eat than buy that
yes, please.
iPhone or that 5G enabled phone?
Yes, please. So what they do is that they come to us, we are the sellers, and they tell us that at the moment I have so and so budgets, and I need to reduce it so that my salary will be able to fit my spending. What can I do? So we tell them that, okay, if you'll be using an iOS device, you can, let's say, downgrade to like an Android device. If you'll be using an Android device, you can downgrade to a feature phone, where some of the feature phones might still give you I will say, quote unquote, the luxury to maybe do WhatsApp, but you can't do so much with that feature phone on like maybe the Android or the iOS device.
Right, and definitely, with the whole drive for financial inclusion, most of these fintech apps, they need to be used on, phones that can do much more. So definitely, this should be some kind of, span in the wheel, for financial inclusion. Because what can you really do with that 2G enabled phone? Well,
I will say that this trend didn't just start today.
Right.
We've been seeing this decline since, I would say, 2015. But in the last 2 to 3 years, the trend now became evident that there is less money in the economy, and an average customer or consumer will say that, well, this phone I have might not necessarily be able to download the new apps you have, financial institutional apps, like I said, to make bank transactions like send money, receive money, and check balance. But the financial institution, too, they were also wise enough to project this kind of scenario. Hence, the launch of the USSD banking, which was released, let's say, like 10 years ago. And with time, the adoption of that technology has increased over the years. Because, for instance, people that stay in remote areas where they don't have maybe cellular network and they don't have the luxury of fast internet, because we all know that if you make a bank transaction and the internet breaks, that might result to maybe your money not being received by the recipient and all those kind of bank issues back and front. So hence, the USSD code, which was launched many years back, has been able to bridge that gap and solve that challenge for bank customers.
Right, and I'll tell you the truth. I cannot imagine myself right now taking a whole sum of 2 million naira or 1 point something million to go buy one of these, iPhones. I do not. Is there some kind of payment plan? What kind of discussions are you guys having around this? Because I don't know who's going to, take all of that money and go buy a phone.
I can say that a few weeks ago, another iPhone was released to the market. And the base model of that phone cost about $800. If we use the benchmark of 1,000 naira to $1, when you purchase that phone in the US, you pay tax. When you pay tax, you also pay shipping costs and clearing here to Lagos, Nigeria. So let's just say that, okay, the newest base model of an iPhone will land at 900,000 naira. Looking at the situation of the country right now,
yes.
If we go by the data of 65% of a household income will be used to purchase just the latest model of that phone.
Yes.
That is, we are using the benchmark of a household that earns approximately between 100 and 120,000. So I would say that that new iPhone that was launched in Nigeria, well, some people can afford to buy it. A lot of people, especially if you like to be on the cutting edge of technology, where you're like, okay, there's a new release of this phone. I don't want to be left out. I also want to be in the cutting edge. You can afford it. But at the moment, a few years ago, we now have companies that do this buy now, pay later, where if you don't have the complete funds to purchase that product, you can approach them and say, hey, I need a finance loan to purchase this device. Right. And they're going to take your data and access your credit history, and if you qualify, you will be granted. The interest rate varies by...
I hope the interest rate is not up to 50%.
No.
Because I'm not going to do that.
It's not that. But another thing
they're affordable.
Yes. But another thing those companies do is that you won't just work at them with zero down payment. They will tell you to pay. It varies. Some tell you 50%, 30%. Then after you pay that initial down payment, you can now spread the payments across 3 to 6 months to 1 month, depending on...
All right, talk to me. I did see that, most of the gadgets we have, in this country, they're all imported, at this time. What kind of conversations are you guys having, so we can start producing, some of these phones, because we all need these phones. What kind of conversations are being had about that at this time? Even if it's some kind of assembly, deal, where they come here, they're able to set up something here, assemble the phones here, so that we don't have to pay too much, bringing it in.
Yes, you can see that again, because the pressure of importing these devices is putting so much pressure on Nigerians' foreign reserve and the demand for dollar. And we all know in basic economics that when demand rises, price too rises. You mentioned production. I wouldn't say production of all those phones. I would say let's start with assembling. Assembling first, right. Because a bulk of those chips, screens, and other components, batteries that they use to produce those smartphones, we cannot produce them here.
Right.
They are all imported from abroad. So all we can do is that we can now approach these manufacturers and say, hey, Nigeria is a very huge market. We have a population of 200 to 220 million, depending on where you're getting your statistics from.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's a very huge market here, and every day so many people need smartphones to maybe work, school, play, or do all manner of things, just to expand their craft and increase their awareness to a whole global audience, as the case may be. So I will say that I'm trying to be very, very hopeful for Nigeria, because right. I believe in this nation so much.
I do believe. But in a few seconds now, tell me about the value chain, this mobile industry. How you guys, making it be able to generate employment, for the masses here. Okay,
yes. Talking about employment, Nigeria has a young population of 70% below the age of 30, which is very, very huge. And a couple of months ago, we used to have the highest unemployment numbers in Nigeria, but the National Bureau of Statistics had to change our parameters and said, oh, we are no more the highest. We have now reduced the numbers,
right.
Which is best known to them. So at Ontela, we started an initiative called the Ontela Campus Rep, where students on campus will pay 30,000 naira. That was about 10 years ago, but now we now charge 50,000 naira based on the cost of those accessories that we give to those students on campus at very, very cheap prices so that they can resell and make a margin. And that's, I would say that that program has been a very huge success because we had like tons of students which joined the program. We started Unilag, extended it to all campuses around the nation, and at the moment, the latest one we have is not just for students. If you are a core member, intending core member, in between jobs, you can also join the program, get these accessories cheap, and resell and make a profit. Instead of just fiddling with your phones all day and just using content.
If I'm going to spend 2 million on the phone, that phone has to make me a lot of money.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Bankole Bada, CEO Hontella. It was great having this conversation.
Thank you very much.
So much.